Alright, here we are with session 4 now of the tutorial going over the cumulative budget and invoices and reports template in Microsoft Excel. I want to emphasize in particular that the centrality of the invoice to the document, in terms of this is primarily where you'll be entering a lot of your information for each quarter. As I mentioned before, in the cumulative budget document is where you'll enter information initially when you're first setting up the document for a new contract. However, then as you go through each quarter and are creating new invoices and reports around the end of each quarter, then your main document where you'll be entering most information is your invoice. Most of the data is going to be sourced and coming from the invoice, and will then populate the other documents from there. So again, your first page here, as I mentioned before, you're going to have a little bit of information at the top, your date and time frame, but then a lot of the rest of the information on the first page is automatically going to populate for you from other places, as you can see is indicated by the fact that it's in green, both the text and the financial numbers there. So you scroll down to the second page. As you may recall from the last tutorial, we hid some of the unused lines, or rows I should say, in this so that it would line up as the top of a page here. So here we have a lot of our numbers in red. So each quarter, this is where you're going to be entering the numbers for that quarter for the most part, for all the different buckets or categories that you're going to have. And basically here, as you can see side by side, we have the two breakdown invoices, the cost breakdown for federal and the cost breakdown for our non-federal in-kind match contributions, with the lines matching straight across for your program manager here and program manager here, and so on. And again, if you need to change the title for any one of these, you would go find out where the source of that data is if it's in green. So here, if I want to change this, this is sourced from B69, which is going to be over here in this one. But this is also green. This one is coming from the cumulative budget C8. So I would go over here to C8, and right here is where I would change if I need to change that text to a different title for that particular project or invoice. Of course, if you need to change something here in this text just for this invoice, well, then you would have to just type over the formula and just create your own text there. I've left, in two cases, as I mentioned before, left it in red for the equipment, and also down here for the indirect category. For each invoice, you would type that in. And if you don't have any equipment, then you could just delete that line. Or same with indirect, if there's no description in particular necessary, then you would just delete that. And of course, if you delete it here where it's in red, in the federal spreadsheet, delete, then it's going to delete it over here in your non-federal match spreadsheet as well. You'll still end up with a 0 there. Everyone involved will just have to ignore that, unless you want to go in and actually delete the formula that's in that cell, which you would do up here. See, I would highlight that and delete it. So, if you want it truly fully blank. Okay. I think the thing perhaps to demonstrate next would be where a bit of information here your financial data is going to be sourced from some other documents, and you can see here a few of our financial numbers are in green. Here for the federal amount for 2 people travel, and also then for the third person, which I'm presuming would typically be your administration person, their match is in green. So I've created a travel or mileage document over here, in this case travel Q1 or Q2 for a subsequent quarter, for quarter 2, and so on throughout all the quarters. So let's go look at that document now. So this is our travel documentation backup, as we've titled it. As I understand it, EPD has just asked us for a document like this that simply has all the travel for all personnel in a single document. So you'd come in here and you can see that the name of the particular project is already filled in. The quarter number is already filled in, and if you go to travel for quarter 2, you're going to see, again, it's already filled in, quarter 2. Looking again at our travel for quarter 1, the mileage rate will vary from contract to contract. We've had some that are at 0.565 cents a mile and others at 0.535 cents a mile. So here in the first quarter's travel document is where you would enter that in. And when I enter it in here, let's say we've got a contract that's not at 565, it's at 53.5 cents a mile. So I would type that in. It's going to change it here all the way down throughout this whole document for me, and in subsequent travel document for subsequent quarters. See, it's all changed here for me for all the quarters going forward here in quarter 2 and quarter 3, 4, and so on. Once I do that in the first quarter, once I set that mileage amount, I would simply need to put in that person's name. Usually the first person that we're doing is our director, Rhonda Gordon, and so I've categorized that simply as person A here. But so you would put in your first person here. Let's say again, it's Rhonda Gordon for us. Maybe it's John Smith at your organization. So you would just type their name in here, and it's going to fill it all in right here for you, as well as this person, person A, is going to have that name in all subsequent quarters now. Oh, I'm sorry, I take that back. That you will need to type in their name in each quarter, just in case there's any variance from each quarter. So wherever you see it in red, you would just need to type their name. Here, person B, at the moment at our organization, that would typically be Miss Julie Shutters. So you would just type in the name, and then throughout the rest of that document, you need to fill it in. So again, just be guided by wherever the letters are in red. Okay. Typically in our organization, we have our person with our most mileage being our director, and then secondarily Miss Julie Shutters, our program in our organization. She's known as program manager, I believe, or project manager. In each given contract, she may have various titles, but that's not important for this document. But you would put it in your second person here, and so typically the majority of their mileage, if not all of it, is going into federal. And so I've set this up that way, but of course you could change that if you need to put some of their time down here in the match. So underneath this gray shaded bar is where you would put any match mileage. And of course you could hide any rows. Let's say you end up with a lot more match down here, then you do federal, you could just hide some of your federal lines or even delete them if you so chose to make more room for match down here on a single page. So just hide them like that, or undo like that. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'll come back and explain this a little bit more in the next session.